And welcome back to the best thing you watched this week. We've got Chris from Movies and Munchies, myself, Ruben from Ruby Tuesday. We have an interesting week of content to talk about. Actually, some good stuff, I think, mostly this week. So even in our audio exclusive, still called The Best Thing We Watched, but wherever you listen to podcasts, we are there. Even there, I think our worst thing is not going to be so bad. We're just going to put some stuff we're going to talk about that doesn't quite make the video segment. If you want to watch the audio and the video, but for full video, making it complicated, on our Patreon there, it just starts at £1 on our Patreon. Over 65 videos there now. We do new exclusive videos on the Patreon every week. And like I said, there's a pound starting. And then there's some videos outside the pay wall. That is thebeardedones.com. Patreon/thebeardedones.
Wow.
Don't know why it's .com. It's a .com. I'm like living in the 90s still. Okay.
Yeah. www.
HTTP/. Yeah.
Yes.
It's none of
How
that.
about we put it on the screen? I'll do that.
Can you put it on over my face?
I can.
All right. Just put it on my forehead right here.
And though that's little, then nobody can see it.
It's tiny.
It's tiny.
But every week we start with Chris doing a movie quote quiz. I'm interested to see how many people got last week's. Last week's was a very interesting. I quite liked it, and I think a lot of people did. It was an interesting way to do it from the norm. So I think you've saved yourself from being fired. Nobody's fired you for months. Damn it! What you got?
Well, so it was a theme. Well, each week has been a theme lately. But Red Comet, Tara Briscoe, Chris Retzlaff, and Nostromo were all able to. That is so weird when you do that. Were able to guess these. So these were dates or times or yeah. The first one I think may have stumped several people, but the last one I think was probably the most recognizable for everybody.
Yes.
But we had...
That's the one I got.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Return of the Living Dead is number 1. Donnie Darko, number 2.
I knew it.
Yeah, see, if you wrote it out,
yeah.
But because I didn't... yeah, anyway. And the last one, Back to the Future.
Yeah. Great, so, Scott, that's all I wanted to say after you had said the date last time.
Funny. Well, okay. Now we have the movies are not obscure. The theme might be a tiny bit, but I think it's doable. Okay. Number 1, Harp. I want to tell you something. I was in this bureau when you were still popping zits on your funny face and jerking off to the lingerie section of the Sears catalog.
That's good.
It's rather large, this shipment. It would be unfortunate, however, if we showed up to deliver our heroin and we were surrounded by 50 cops. No? Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to say what I thought it was, yeah.
Oh, no, don't say it out loud.
Yeah, almost did. Is it this?
Okay. Yes. Number 3.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Don't call me Rocket.
Nice. Is there a theme?
There is a theme. Yes.
Huh.
Yes. So let us know in the comments. As always, give a tiny bit of space so that people have the opportunity to guess and don't see your answers. But we will give you the shout out next week. Ruben, do you have a question for us?
Really easy one. What is your favorite or the best anime movie of all time, according to you and
Akira.
The people in the comments? Akira, easily. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that was easy for me. I mean, truthfully, too, which I don't have a wide selection of anime to pull from.
I know. I've been trying to fix that. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, and I've been enjoying them.
Yeah.
But what about you? What's your answer? Somebody that loves anime.
I don't know how to answer that. That was for everybody else to answer, not me.
Oh, Grave of the Fireflies?
No, I can't watch that movie again. It is very good, but it's the most depressing anime movie of all time, I think. I mean, mine are interchangeable, I think, depending on my mood. Sure. Akira 100% is up there. Ghost in the Shell, Ninja Scroll, Legend of the Overfiend, Guyver. Well, that's a series, really. Yeah. Yeah, and it's weird because it all goes back to like the old ones. Like, what's the new stuff that's really good? Actually, Red Turtle might be the best anime movie ever, and it has 0 dialogue.
Really? Is it just like atmosphere and soundtrack or score?
Yeah, just tells the story visually. Yeah, it was
Wow.
with like, if there'll be some grunting and stuff. It's the only time I've seen a movie where I didn't mind that there was no audio. It just worked. Yeah.
Nice.
I encourage everybody to watch that one. It's very, very, very good.
Red Turtle?
Yeah. Red
Okay.
Turtle. Yeah. In the comments below, let us know what is your favorite anime movie of all time.
Yes.
And with that, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
No.
All right. Let's.
Is
What?
this week going to be like 3 hours long? Because I got to tell you, I had an amazing week of watching. The last several weeks I've been struggling with things that I enjoyed or that I thought were really good. And this week it's been like crap.
All right. Well, let's
I'm
try
gonna
and
have to
keep
narrow
our
this down.
reviews more concise than normal then,
Concise?
so we can put
Okay.
more in, if that makes sense.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah.
We can try. I mean, it doesn't always work.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
Sure. The reason why I'm wearing this blue growth on my shoulder is there is a Hulu film. I've recorded my review, but I haven't put it out yet. But there's a Hulu film coming out called Appendage. And I didn't know if I enjoyed it. Like, I did enjoy it, but I didn't know how much I enjoyed it. But it's a film that stays with you and you keep thinking about it afterwards. It's basically about a young woman who seems to have crippling anxiety, and it comes from her mother, her partner, her workplace environment, and it basically manifests a growth on the side of her. And it oozes and it's gross, and the more people are like her boss, who's a fashion designer guru, tears her down and says like, that's the worst. Like, are you serious about this? Don't even bother coming unless you come with something original and that kind of stuff. And so this thing keeps growing, and what we end up with is like a creature feature film that I wasn't expecting, and the creature feature design is excellent. Like, reminds me of those original 80s movies. Think The Thing, that kind of prosthetics. It's like, yeah, I'm down for this. But then the theme behind it, your physical manifestation of your anxieties in a thing, and it begins to speak and just spews like hatred at her, like, you were the worst at this, you were like, you're disgusting, you were like, and I'm just like, whoa. So that's one story, and you could go deeper into like the psychological thinking of that. What does that mean? But she does some research for help because she's thinking that she's losing the plot a bit. And that's where the film gets really good. And I knew the twist was coming, but I wanted it. I was like, oh, that'd be really cool if they did this. And they did the thing that I wanted them to do. I could guess what I think was going to happen at the end, but I didn't mind it. So at the end of the day, it was like a film that I was like, yeah, that was very cool. That was very different. Which is surprising. Maybe I went in with lower expectations, because a lot of those Halloween movies that come out October time, I just, really forgettable. This one I could definitely watch again, because I want to see people's faces squirm when they like seeing the appendage, and the reason why it's called the appendage, and how the film almost like twists on its head and becomes something different. Love that about it. It was really fun.
Nice. Did you ever see Basket Case?
Yes.
From the early 80s?
Oh, it's great. Very, very, very good.
That's what instantly pops into my head when
No, I
you were
can
talking
totally
about
see
this.
that. I'm going to get rid of my appendage now because it's too warm.
Is it?
I'm going to give birth to it. Blech! This is Happy from Fairy Tale.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Oh.
Okay. We both watched a show this week that's coming out. Actually came out when it's already come out since we're doing this recording.
Right.
At least the first couple of episodes. Now, I watched the first 6 episodes because I did not have the final 2. Still don't have the final 2.
I watched the first 3 because they only gave me 3.
Oh, so then those are the only 3 that dropped.
Yes. Yeah.
Prime Video's Gen V, which is a spinoff of The Boys. I loved it. I mean, if you love The Boys, you know, all the violence and just the pushing of the envelope in pretty much every way, it delivers.
For sure.
That. There's a mystery growing, which I like. I'm invested in it. You know, I enjoy getting to know these new characters. It lives within the Boys universe.
Yeah.
They're aware of it. You know, these kids were given Compound V as infants.
Good parenting.
Yeah, right. Yes. And so it has these now struggling to find their identity because they have these powers that they didn't ask for, and, you know, or these abilities or whatever. And not all of them see it as a positive, you know, but they have it. And then, of course, you have the evil corporation which
Vought.
is the bigger one is Vought. Yeah. And then you have like the school, which also has some, but because it's part of Vought, it has, you know, just all of that.
It's going to have an underbelly
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I mean, the graphics and the abilities that we get to see, I thought were pretty unique. That was like, oh, okay, you're branching off, which I really appreciate, from some of the standard superhero type of tropes that we see, and really going just weird.
Yeah.
For me, my favorite character was Emma because of her story, just that underdog of nobody sees value in her. And so then she doesn't see value in her.
Yeah.
And she does things that demean her, but she does them because she's longing. Like she has this.
Emma, the roommate?
Yeah. And there's later in the series, there's more surprises, which I think are fun. And then the main character, is it Mariah? Is that her name?
The blood wielder.
Yes, played by Jazz Sinclair. Marie. It's Marie Moreau.
Yes. Yeah.
She has, so she can control blood, which is phenomenal. And
She's
the way
like a blood witch.
Yeah, it's.
I laughed out loud when she first started using her powers, because she used them too much. Yeah. And then she's like, whoa, I feel lightheaded. I was like, that's because you have no blood in you. It's like, that's problematic. Yeah.
Yeah. There's there's a scene in one of the latter episodes that you cheer for, but it is horrifying.
Right. There's a lot of that.
Yeah. What did you think of the first 3 episodes?
I really liked it. I didn't expect to like it as much. I thought I was going to keep comparing it to The Boys. And really, it just feels like it's a story within The Boys universe. I think they've done really well doing that. Part of what works in this is because I think you can relate to going to university, right? And then you can say, we've all probably had those conversations. I know boys definitely have. What power would you choose to have? But it takes those two ideas and smashes them together. Imagine going through your teenage years, or young, like early 20s, late teens, having a power manifest and trying to deal with all those emotions, all of like coming of age stuff, and a power that is like, its combination is a part of you. So it's not just and a power, it's in you, and you got to learn to deal with it as part of growing up. And the consequences of that are way worse. We've seen a little bit of that in stuff like the X-Men, at Xavier's house. But here, like I said in my review, this feels like a much more realistic, like this would totally happen. This is how it would be if humans got powers. We would abuse and abuse it, and we wouldn't know how to control it, and then people would be controlling kids, and for the next generation of their super soldiers or whatever, kids wouldn't just be allowed to be kids. Even in the school, the fence around it says no looky-loos, right? And so you're still getting that little bit there. they think they're free, but they're actually prisoners.
They're a zoo.
Yeah,
Yep.
100%. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes and how what they do with the mystery that's building. Because it still has some of that satire in it that The Boys has, which I think is still great because they haven't lost sight of that.
Yeah,
And that the way we uphold heroes, or that we put people on platforms, or corporations or whatever, as good and benevolent and all this, that they're really not.
Yeah,
which is actually kind of funny when you have this series being on Prime, owned by Amazon. That
yeah, exactly.
And the way they treat their workers, right?
Yeah.
So, excuse me. All right. What's next on your list?
Okay, so this coming week we have two big series of TV that are ending. We have the Star Wars series, Ahsoka, is going to have its last episode, episode 8. And we also have the Wheel of Time season 2, which is going to have episode 8. Now, both episodes this week have been excellent. I've really enjoyed the Wheel of Time season 2. This is far stronger than season 1. I mentioned when I watched the first few episodes that I thought it was far stronger. It was interesting that they're spending more time with the characters, but it didn't feel like it was being slowed up at all. It just feels like they figured out a character development arc and the characters are really, or the actors really embracing who those characters are now. There's a lot more emotional investment, at least I'm feeling it when stuff is happening to our characters. They're not quite sticking to the book still, but they're still doing their own thing. But as far as I can tell, the reception of season 2 has been so much better. Fans are like, yeah, this, I'm signed up. I've seen a few comments on episode 7. It's like, yeah, after episode 7, I'm totally in for the direction they're going with the show. So if they can keep doing that for season 3, because unfortunately, this is definitely a filler season. So they're building up, building up, but episode 8 by no means is going to be the end of the Rand story and the Reborn King. This is just brutal. It's been very dark. A lot of torture episodes in this, and our group, I don't even remember the kids, they were all separated at the end of season 1. And season 2, they're all on different walks of life, but all roads lead to this city called From, and it's like a desert Egyptian sort of vibe. Obviously a different world, but that's the sort of color palette they're going for. And the costume sets and the design of this city that we've seen, with a mix of the culture from the worlds that the kids come from. I say kids, they're not. They're young men and women. I don't know why I'm thinking, well, compared to me. And they're all going. In season 2, we've had Moraine, who's lost her powers, and she's trying to help them. And that was a really interesting balance of trying to see how she can still help them as no longer being connected to the one power. So that was great, like a really phenomenal episodes, and even the previous, but really good, building up the hype for that last kind of finishing. I'm very excited to see where they go with episode 8. And then Ahsoka, my goodness, this is the best Star Wars has been, and I would say this is doing better. It's done better to explain what has happened with Anakin than the last 3 movies have. Like, it seems to have fixed. You could ignore some of the movies if you wanted to now, and just have like this from Clone Wars to Rebels to the Star Wars, like the originals and the prequels, and then the part 1, 2, and 3. You could then continue with understanding of what has happened. There's a scene in episode 6 with Anakin and Ahsoka that was like, I didn't know that they were going to do that, and I didn't know we were going to get that. But man alive, I think because of that scene and the outcry of how brilliant it was, we're now getting a live action series greenlit by Disney of Anakin in the Clone Wars with Ahsoka.
Oh.
Yeah. And if it's anywhere as good as that sequence that we had with them in episode 6, it was great. But then 7 is a huge crescendo coming up to what the story has been about. Even if you don't know, if you've not watched Rebels, you'll know that it's all kind of about where the crew of Rebels have kind of been scattered. It's about the building up of Ahsoka, really, but more about her Padawan. So it's like Ahsoka adjacent. It's like her Padawan needs to come into terms and what Ahsoka believes is her role now within the Jedi. and also trying to protect this republic from Thrawn, which has always been the worry that if he comes back and is able to garner the help and the secret bad guys that are lying in wait, just waiting for somebody to come. And that's been brilliant to watch. But some of the things I didn't know that I was ever going to see in live action, last couple of episodes, we've seen space whales. And they're incredible, like so cool. They're creature designs and moments from live action or animation to mentioned in books that they're just Star Warsing great. Like it feels like Star Wars. And again, I'm so into the score. Like I love the Mandalorian score, and that will probably still sit at my favorite. But this score will sit underneath it. It's very good. I know the theme tune now. I'm always humming along to it. Yeah, thoroughly impressed with those two series, and definitely on the best thing I've watched this week.
I've been enjoying the show. The scene, the lightsaber battle, the tie-in with the Clone Wars, and the flashing of Anakin and stuff like that, I thought was brilliant. My big issue that I've had from episode 1 is that because I didn't watch the Clone Wars and because I didn't watch Rebels, I feel very disconnected from this.
I 100% agree with that. I don't think I've seen all of Rebels, but I've seen at least 2 seasons out of the 4. And wow, people that haven't seen Rebels are totally going to be missing out on the Ezra storyline. And it's a big part of what the weight of this series is.
Exactly. And that's where I talk with my kids some about this because they've been watching and stuff, and they loved Rebels, loved Clone Wars and stuff. And I think it's unfortunate that we don't have some of that world building to bring in somebody who hasn't seen those to be able to feel invested in this. I mean, I'm enjoying it, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't hold any real weight for me. Because I don't have any of those previous things to draw from. And I think while that's great for fan service, right? Hey, all for it. Super serve the fans because that's, it's yay and great, especially if you can do it well.
Yeah.
But how do you grow your audience? Because for me, I'm not going to sit down and watch all of Clone Wars, and I'm not going to sit down and watch all of Rebels.
Well, Rebels would be the one you needed to watch.
Well, and just to
4 seasons?
Just to be able to understand this 8-episode show.
Yeah.
And that's I think the danger, because if you don't provide some context, just make it a longer series and build in some of this context. They could have done a
catch-up bit in live action, like the end of Rebels would have been amazing to see. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have
even a forced memory,
ability.
Right? You could have done.
Exactly. Yeah. Just to set a foundation for us that now we have a better starting point. I understand that still the super fans, the people that know about this, it's going to hit so much harder and it's going to be so much better, which is great, which it should be. You should get a reward for, knowing all of this stuff. But I don't know if it has the reach now because people don't feel as invested if they've never seen all of the stuff that came before it. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I haven't seen episode 7 yet, so I want to see that.
Cool.
So I'm glad to. Yeah. Thanks for not spoiling it too. That was good. Appreciate that. Okay, next on my list is a Netflix movie. It came out just very recently this past weekend, and it's called Nowhere, and it has very limited cast. At first, I didn't even want to watch it. Honestly, what?
The cast of one.
Yeah, one. Mostly. Yeah, really. I mean, through almost all of it, it's just one person, and it is contained. It is, it's basically near future, that in Europe, a fascist party power has taken over and they are annihilating people.
Their costumes are interesting. Their uniforms, they look very like
Nazi?
Hitlerist. Yeah, Nazi.
Yes. White supremacists. And at first I thought, that's what this is. But then I saw some black characters in the uniforms too. And so it's not quite that, but resources are limited, and so they're killing pregnant women and children. That enough is horrifying. So people are trying to flee as best they can, and people are having to be smuggled out. And that's where we follow and meet this couple. And they're getting smuggled out. They get separated. So the husband is in one shipping container. The wife the pregnant wife is in another shipping container, and they get put on a boat, and then their destination is Ireland. And there's a massive storm as they go, and the thing tumbles over. And so she's alone in this cargo container floating in the ocean, and the cargo container has holes.
Yeah.
And so now it is this struggle for survival. And it is, it's harrowing at points. She's very, very, very pregnant.
Yes.
So giving birth is imminent.
Yeah.
She's alone in a partially sinking thing, almost zero communication. We get to look out, and like there's nothing around, right? It's just so lonely, but so terrifying. I likened it a little bit to Gravity. When Sandra Bullock is up in the thing, and
I can see that. Yeah.
She has limited supplies. There's basically one wrong move and you're dead.
Yeah.
And nobody really to come and get you. And so it was good. I was impressed by the special effects too. Because I couldn't tell what was fake. I don't know if they filmed the ocean and put a cargo container in it.
I was going to say that was definitely a real baby.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. No, or they, so the when we get the shots of the exterior, a lot of the time I've seen, especially recently, I've seen some terrible stuff where they really light the character or the surface and stuff poorly. Like they overemphasize the sun. Bless you.
Excuse me.
One more? No? Okay.
No, I'm good.
And so it just looks very unnatural and very fake. And so it instantly breaks you out of any type of realism that's established. Here, seriously, I thought she was floating in the middle of the ocean. Like, I don't know which is fake and which isn't.
Yeah, they must have done a tank and done a shell of because it couldn't have been metal. It would have sunk pretty quick.
Yeah.
And wouldn't have been safe to have her in there and all the filming and stuff. So they would have built rigs and stuff. But yeah, absolutely 100% felt real. What I loved about the idea of that is that, I don't know if you checked, but it wasn't until like 40 minutes in that we actually see the outside of the container. For the first chunk of the movie, we're seeing inside and through her eyes the holes that she's peeping out. And so we get the water that's bobbing up and the container that's moving up and down. And then we just get to see the little peeps of, the holes. Yeah. And that was clever. And then when it's really disastrous, we show how even more disastrous it is because we're showing the outside and you're like, there's just no way you survive this. Which is one of the things I said in my review. There'll come a point where you decide to live or decide to die. And what is it that separates the will to live? And I think for her, she has a baby. She's very pregnant, so that helps. I was thinking if it was me, I might have died, or I don't know. I just don't know. I do like the MacGyvering that she has to do to survive. I thought that was probably the best part of the film for me. She uses everything. She gathers everything that's in the container, whatever she's doing. But I love the idea that, human resilience, I think, is a big part of the film. Which is really interesting to me.
But she also didn't start off instantly knowing what to do.
No,
and that's what I think
that's
works
great.
also.
She's working it out. You can figure the stuff out, right?
Yeah, because she tapes up a hole, and it works.
Yeah,
and then it doesn't.
You probably, and I, while watching, goes, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I think you might need more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was harrowing. It really was. It was just terrifying and breathtaking at moments. I found myself holding my breath.
Yeah.
And it executed really well. The ending was satisfying, I think. Not necessarily happy, because of all of the story elements that build into that.
So I like the ending. There's a moment where you see something happen with the ending, where you think something has happened. I kind of wanted that to happen. That would have been more devastating and hard-hitting. But do you understand what I'm saying without spoilers?
I totally do. And you're absolutely right. It would have been devastating. And that was one of the moments that I was holding my breath, and I was just like,
yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me?
But still, I would have did everything possible to. I'm sorry if you're listening to this review and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? And do my best not to do spoilers because I don't want to spoil that part particularly. Yeah. It's a really great moment. There was one part that I called bullshit on. This is bull crap. There's certain moments where there's believability and you think that human nature can overcome. And then there was a nature moment. Let's just call it a nature moment. I was like, really? I mean, I guess. Nature's pretty incredible. It's pretty cool at times. So I just went with it. I was like, okay, cool, fine.
Yeah, I mean, it did venture into the fantastical there a little bit, but I was okay with it because that which we're shown is highly intelligent.
True, and they had also established it early on, so it wasn't like it just suddenly. Yeah, correct. Which is why I think I could go, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't necessarily totally believe it, but okay, yeah.
The skeptic in me goes, nah, but the actual nice person in me goes, whoa, cool.
Exactly, yeah. So, there you go. Yeah, nowhere. But okay.
Nice. Okay, next on my list is by far the best thing I watched this week, but isn't a 5-star film. It's barely a 3-star film. Slotherhouse.
Dude. That just came out on digital this week, right?
Yes.
Oh,
well, no, I think it's been out for a few weeks, but it's like 3 weeks maybe.
Oh, I don't think it has here. I think
really?
Because it was in theaters here.
Right.
Very,
maybe
very
that's
limited,
what it was. It just came out on digital.
Okay.
This film has it shouldn't be as good as it is. It doesn't make sense to me. The actual quality of the movie. It should totally be a B horror movie, and it is, but it's defiant in its. I don't really want to be B horror. I want to be in the top tier of horror. So it's filmed really well. The first half of the movie feels like a sorority 90s 2000 kind of tongue-in-cheek comedy. And one of those where you get the den mothers that's just awful and wants to be the president, and you get the underdog character who's desperately trying to win popularity. You got the friend with her saying, you don't need that sort of popularity, you don't need that in your life, the good friend and then you get the dodgy geezer, let's call him that selling all sorts of exotic animals, and he sees this girl and says, you know what will help you? If you have a sloth, they're so tame, and somehow, without doing spoilers, she gets the sloth and it becomes the mascot of the sorority house, and it's cute and sloth-like, and you can scratch its little head, likes her, doesn't like anybody else really. It has tablets saying this sloth has anxiety, so make sure you give it the tablet. Reminded me a lot of Gremlins, actually. When
that's exactly what just popped into my head.
Don't feed them after midnight. Okay, so it is a PG-13, so they're obviously trying to get a wider audience.
More,
yeah. But in my review, I said, this is probably a really good first foray for younger members, with their family. If you want to get them into horror, this might be a really good kind of stepping stone going, okay. Because I had a lot of fun once you understand... it's
what
sloth,
you're watching.
Yeah, it's sloth time, and sloth is going to kill. But also, if you've seen the trailer, then you'll know that the sloth is able to do things that doesn't make sense, which is brilliant. They just embrace the crazy. Imagine a sloth on a mobile phone. Imagine a sloth driving a car. That's just the start of the craziness, and I love it. This sloth is highly intelligent for some reason.
Nice.
I don't know what. The way you have the mixture of the puppeteering or the animatronics, and then just obviously a teddy bear. You're just what is this? And it's brilliant. I love the kills. I love the silliness. when it embraces all of that, it's great.
I'm so glad to hear this because it played at least one day at a theater near me, but I wasn't able to go see it that day. The thing that had me worried that it was PG-13.
Yeah,
that I was like, you're having a ridiculous movie like this, and then you're going to have to tame it down.
So the way they get around that is a lot of times you want to actually see the kills. You'll see like the thing flying, and then you'll see the death of the person, and you still see some blood. And it kind of works. Really creative death scenes, a montage of death scenes, and it works. Yeah. I want more of these, like Slotherhouse 2, The Revenge of Sloth, or, you know.
Well, I know what I'm renting this weekend.
Well, let me know if you enjoy it. I hope you do. Just know what it is.
Oh, yeah. Well, come on.
Yeah.
If you go in to a movie that is called Slotherhouse, and you're expecting a certain caliber, I think you might need to rearrange your priorities.
That's where we were confused because the movie
it actually is better than
good. Like it's well filmed, it's well acted, it's put together like it's got a bigger budget than it absolutely doesn't have. Like its budget is minuscule, but it's not filmed like those straight to DVD. It doesn't have that feeling about it. Yeah. This is a film. It's a film.
This is actually
it's a
cinema.
Movie.
Yeah,
exactly.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
but then you get into Teddy Bear Sloth. So it's like two.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Next on my list, another Netflix one.
Okay.
I got a bunch this week.
Yeah.
Kind of a neo-noir murder mystery, detective story called Reptile. Benicio del Toro, Alicia Silverstone, Justin Timberlake. Did you get a chance to watch this one?
I did watch this, yeah.
Okay. At first I didn't know if I was feeling it or not. It was very artsy is not the word. It was
slow.
Yeah, it was, but it was deliberate.
You
know what I mean?
It's deliberate. I absolutely understand. Yeah. It's a puzzle piece builder.
Exactly. Yeah, it was patient. Even with the filming and the lack of dialogue at points where they would just sit on a character or push slowly into a character or pan around a character, as they're just looking at something or they're studying or they're just like looking at each other. It had this very mysterious tone to it. The thing I think that I loved most is that there was so much doubt placed on every character that, you could guess, but were you 100% confident in that guess? Like for me, I guessed it, but then I moved on because I thought it was something else.
Right.
And then, I really enjoyed all of it, except for one point where I wish towards the end they did a reveal that they shouldn't have done, because there's still a final scene that I think has a much larger impact, but you already know the answer now, and so it removes a lot of the for the next scene. And so that part of it, I was like, dang it, don't do that. I thought some of the characters are stoic, but I think that's what builds into the mystery and the doubt on the characters. You're just uneasy throughout a lot of this because you don't really know what's going on inside people's heads. They speak cryptically, they act cryptically. So yeah. What did you think?
Yeah, this wasn't on the best thing I watched this week.
Okay.
I liked it. I know a lot of people are going to love it. Every time I looked at an actor or an actress, I was like, damn, this cast is crazy. Like, it's just even background sort of characters that I was like, I know that person, just bit parts. But like even the main protagonists, it's a fairly big cast of well-known actors that I thought were all doing a really great job. So here's my issue. This was actually going to be my
in your worst?
In your not worst. So I enjoyed it. And it is slow and it's a burner. I figured out what it was, and it has this great mystery. There are some actors that have done a lot of roles, I'm doing my best not to spoil, but it's really hard not to for this bit. But there's some actors that have done a lot of roles that are almost typecast into those roles.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a moment in this film when they're sitting around the table, and I was like, "You guys are cops." And so I'm not. Mm-hmm. It's very hard, and I'm sorry if that is spoiling things, but so that was the mystery was sort of gone for me because
I get that.
They had a presence about them. And to be fair, I was prejudging because for me that they carried, or they normally play these sort of characters. And so even though they were other sort of characters, I still expected other stuff to happen with some of those characters. And to be fair, I'm not spoiling because there's a lot of people around the table and not all of them are good or bad. They're multifaceted, complicated characters. Mm-hmm. A surprise for me is Alicia Silverstone. I thought she was very good in this. It was good to see her in a movie because she's had a couple recently where she hasn't been great in, or maybe hasn't been directed well. Mm-hmm. But I thought she was good as Benicio del Toro's wife. I thought she was a force to be reckoned with. Reminded me at times, this film, a little bit of Casino. Like it has that sort of build and feeling to it. Mm-hmm. These characters all have so much weight, and I think that's down to directing, but also the actors. They bring a lot to the table when you're acting, and like you said, not so much dialogue heavy, but they still have a presence about them. So I absolutely see this as some people's favorites. It's going to be up there. They're going to watch it. They're going to talk about it. I wouldn't be surprised if it wins a number of awards even. I think there's going to be spoken about positively. My second issue I had with this, apart from me kind of guessing, is I immediately forgot it. Like it was like gone. So for me, it's
just didn't have that stickability.
No,
to
it just was like boom, on to the next.
Gotcha.
And I was like, oh, that's disappointing because I love those actors. I love the storytelling, the builder, the mystery. Just didn't have that for me.
I can understand that. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, fair criticism. All right. What's next on your list?
It's your turn. Oh, is it my turn?
I did Reptile. Yeah,
right.
I did Reptile.
Okay. What am I talking about? I don't know.
It's your list.
I was going to talk about Castlevania.
Oh, yeah.
Nocturne. I'll do that like over 9,000 segment now. So this is obviously the new...
It's over 9,000!
It's a sequel. It's set, I think, 300 years after the last Castlevania storyline. It's based on 2 Castlevania games. I know a lot of fans were worried about whether this would be as good as the 4 seasons we had previously. I can say that they're done a lot more of the same. They haven't shied away from the gore like there was in it's fully gory language. It's an adult series. I think it is a hard 18 here, so probably be R-rated in the US, I imagine. The animation is beautiful and the story builds wonderfully, and I think that's what I was most worried about. It absolutely is a stepping stone. It doesn't finish here. It starts. There's 8 episodes and it feels like we've just started the story. So they're leading up.
Satisfying?
Oh yeah, for the most part. It could have not been satisfying because it leaves us on a massive sort of cliffhanger and you're wondering what's going to happen to your characters, except there's a reveal of a character at the end. And that makes it so much better. I've seen comments I was squealed. Like I squealed when I saw a certain character. I was like, yeah,
nice.
And that was good. So they needed something to kind of go, next time on Castlevania, here's something. And I don't think we're going to have to wait as long now that they've got the story and they're going to get going. Fingers crossed. Yeah, very good. Very, very good.
Nice. Okay. Do you have more for your over 9,000?
No, that's all my enemy.
Okay. I have one more piece of content to talk about, and I got to see this on Thursday night.
Nice.
And it's called The Creator.
Yeah, I'm so jealous.
Edwards. Dude. I am blown away by this man's ability for sci-fi, for believable.
He's so
sci-fi.
good at it. Like authentic, feels real.
Yes.
like it would happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
As I was watching this, I kept thinking, so let's have Dave Filoni make a script, and then let's let Gareth Edwards direct it.
Do a Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, he did Rogue One.
Yeah.
He did Monsters, which you and I are going to talk about in the audio section, which I didn't even realize at the time was his movie, which is crazy. Yeah, no, I didn't at first. Yeah. This, though, so to preface, the story of the creator is very familiar.
Yeah.
I think that you will be able to know the twists, the turns, the story beats of it. For my wife, that kind of lessened some of the enjoyment because it didn't necessarily do anything new with that. For me, I didn't mind that predictability because I was so ingrained and immersed in the world. Like it, the characters were rich. We don't have a lot of them, right? I mean, you have John David Washington, this relative newcomer, Madeline, I'll have to look up her last name, Emma Chan, Ken Watanabe, Allison Janney, and they, I mean, you have your good guys, bad guys, except the bad guys aren't bad guys. It's the good guys are the bad guys.
Yeah.
You have the American military who are trying to wipe out AI because they feel threatened by it. But over in the rest of the world, and in this place called New Asia, which is where it's focused on, AI, and which is full robots, replicants, which are half and half robot, half, like androids, kind of, except they have real skin and they can eat and they can do different things. Wow. And then humans, they all live together, peacefully working. Wow. Yeah, doing everything like that. And so I loved the themes of just what makes somebody human, is a big thought in this, because really, I mean, the humans that we see are pretty terrible most of the time. Yeah. They're cold and they're callous and they're very selfish. Whereas then I'd like an ice cream, please.
They're so loud, and it's almost 7 o'clock, and it's getting quite dark. It's like, do you really want to be that dodgy ice cream guy?
Well, get in the van.
Get in the van, kids. I got candy.
I see the candy first, then I get in the van.
Just chuck it to me. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, but it's. Oh gosh, I can't even. I mean, the visuals are spectacular. Like, and I love the mix because this takes place in 2065.
Okay.
And it's kind of an alternate timeline of Earth, because at the very beginning of the movie, we're shown this newsreel, and it's talking about AI and, robots of the future and stuff. And it's like in the 50s or whatever, some of these things that you would see, except then it begins to jump, technology jumping ahead faster than it did in real life.
Right.
And so we're seeing things, which then makes it more plausible that now in 2065 we have, all of this AI and all the technology that we see. But I love that they utilize so much old stuff as well, and just infuse it with new tech, so that
gives it a real feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it is. I mean, the you're watching this thing, and like you'll see ships going, or you'll see just structures in the background, and I kid you not. I mean, I couldn't tell that it was CGI. I mean, I know it's CGI, right?
Yeah, because we don't have that.
Exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have had so many sketchy movies of CGI
with
in the
huge
past
budgets.
several years. Monster size budget.
Think about The Flash. Right.
Dude, well, and then you take a lot of the Marvel movies in the past handful of years. This is blowing all of those out of the water. It has a very tangible feel to it, very real. The robots, the full robots, I mean, they don't look like humans, except they're shaped like humans, and they have fluid movements, and so there's nothing static or staccato,
and a
about
minuscule
it or
budget compared to like Avatar.
Dude, Yeah, yeah, it is. Let me see here. I'll see if I can find about what the budget is, because it is. To watch this, Madeline Voiles also is the young girl that plays Alfie, who is the child in this. It's according to IMDb. Does it even say the? Oh, I don't see the
production budget 80 million.
What?
That's according to the numbers, which they're fairly accurate. Yeah.
And Flash was reportedly 300 million.
Yeah.
Dude. So here's the thing. I mean, I think I said, I mean, this is kind of why we go to the movies.
Yeah.
Like this, even
that's
though
escapism and joy. That's why we do what we do. Because there's been times where it's really stood out to us, like has filled us with that glee coming out of the Lord of the Rings for the first time, like those sort of moments.
Yeah, I took most of my family. My youngest son had to work last night, but we got out and I was like ready to go right back in and watch it again.
Wow.
I mean, it is, yeah.
Okay.
And I think my kids are going to go see it again today
or
tomorrow.
Okay.
And yeah, it's
an event.
It was, and it was. I mean, it's a little longer than I thought it was. It's 2 hours and like 13 minutes or something. I thought
means
it was
you
less
didn't
than
feel
2
it.
hours.
Yeah,
I did not feel the time at all. My wife did feel the time. I'm pretty sure my daughter-in-law felt the time a little bit too. For me though, I was in it. I mean, just.
I need to go watch this, man.
Dude, I think you're gonna love it because of just. I mean, it's everything wonderful about sci-fi. With then a story that you can grasp hold of, and it doesn't feel out there. It has real touching moments to it that you can internalize, even though it's taking place in a future with tech that we don't have yet.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, well, that's
Anything
me
else? Done. Okay. Well, hey, this has been a longer one. Well, at least more content, but I think we've shaved down the time. That was good. We didn't ramble on and go on as many tangents. I guess we could though if we wanted to. But no. We thank you for joining us. We have a Patreon opportunity at patreon.com/thebeardedones. It's £1. Gets you in there, like Ruben had said. There's 65 videos in there, or at least.
Yeah.
Some of them are outside the paywall so that you can get just a glimpse of what we do, what we get up to, new content being added each week. There's also different tiers that give you different access. We have, let's see, our YouTube channels, Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday, me, Chris, Movies and Munchies. If you could like, share, subscribe, do all those things that you would normally do on YouTube. If you like longer audio, we have an extended audio podcast. So it's everything you just watched and then more. And we talk about the thing that didn't necessarily make our list, which I ruined Ruben's because I brought in Reptile there. Maybe he's got something else to talk about. We talk about a movie that either we've never seen before or it's been a really long time. And this time it's Gareth Edwards' Monsters from 2010. It's been more than a handful of years since I've seen it. We also hit upon news and things that are coming up in the next week so that you can add them to your watch calendar. We would love to hear from you in the comments below. Don't forget about the movie quote quiz and Ruben's question. What's your favorite anime? But also just what are some of the best things that you're watching? We would love to hear that as well. With that, we will see you next time. All right. Take care.